Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Gina from Her Cosmic Crown. Today we'll be discussing how 99% of the jobs out there will be replaced by AI. I just finished watching a clip from Steven Bartlett's YouTube channel, A Diary of a CEO, and he had a guest on there who is an expert on AI safety, and his name is Dr. Roman Yampolskiy. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. I'll have a link to that clip in the description box below. But he predicts that AI, 5 years from now, almost all of the jobs will be replaced. And this is actually including physical labor, not just computer jobs and things like that. In the video, they also discussed how one of the most prominent jobs that there is are drivers, and many drivers are becoming slowly but eventually obsolete. We can already see self-driving cars. We see Waymo, who is like an Uber, and that company can pick people up, drop them off. In a lot of major cities in the United States, we see Waymo cars driving. And who's to say that self-driving cars are not going to take over? But yeah, we already know Tesla is in the process of creating humanoid robots that will eventually cook, clean for us, take our dogs for walks. And this leading expert on AI safety is saying that they will eventually take all jobs, including plumbing, construction work. All of these things will eventually be automated. And so if they take over our jobs, then what's going to happen? Many people fear, how are we going to make money? Where's the income? And he predicts that the income will be replaced by, we're going to have so many resources, and everyone is probably going to live, we'll have enough resources for everyone where most people can live a, at least decent life where their basic needs are met, which is great. And but on the other hand, if they replace their jobs, what's the purpose? What purpose will we have? What's the meaning to life if we're gonna have so much free time? And immediately my mind went to this dark space, this dark place, where I was thinking of this movie called Ready Player One. I don't know if you watched that. There's this futuristic dystopian world. A lot of people have these headsets and they're playing video games, and they're in this virtual world most of the time, and the world has become so grim that people want to escape, and they live out this fantasy world. And so my mind went to that place, which is such a negative place, I guess. And so I don't think that's a huge possibility that could happen. And I'll get to what I think is gonna happen at the end of the video. Another point that Steven Bartlett and Dr. Yampolskiy was talking about was that there's gonna be this cognitive gap so large between human intelligence and super intelligence. And super intelligence grows exponentially faster and faster each day, whereas human intelligence doesn't grow as fast. So there's going to be this huge gap more and more each day between human intelligence and the super intelligence. And in the future, there were different time periods that Steven was talking about in the video. Like, he was asking about 2027, he was asking about 2030, what's going to happen in 2045, I think. And in 2030 or 2045, the doctor was predicting that this cognitive gap is going to be unfathomable, and we won't even be able to understand the thinking or the way this super intelligence processes things, because it's going to be way advanced. It's going to be far more advanced than what we can comprehend. Kind of like the cognitive gap between a dog and a human. So yeah, that was very fascinating. What the guest was talking about is that he said most likely the financial piece will be taken care of. We'll be able to get our basic needs met, but he's wondering what this technology will mean for us when it comes to our meaning, to our purpose. And I think that this time more than any other time, it's important, it's pivotal that we have a foundation, that we find meaning in life, that we have a spiritual anchor. And I think astrology is going to be even more necessary in the world, because the astrology that I use, which is tropical Vedic astrology, the techniques that I learn help give me and others a larger understanding of this world, of our purpose. It provides an individualized plan for us and to make meaning out of everything. And it's also a very, not only a scientific mathematical tool, but it is a spiritual tool. And do I think that astrology will be replaced by AI? I think it's possible if we program AI to use astrology using the Vedic astrology techniques, like the ancient Vedic astrology techniques. I do think it's possible. And we already see it now. There are programs out there that, you know, people can just put in their birth information, another person's birth information, and it'll give a compatibility report and things like that. So yeah, I do think it could be possible. Anything's possible. I mean, if this guest speaker is talking about how every single job will be replaced, why wouldn't astrology be replaced? He does say that he cannot predict what's going to happen, if this is going to be a bad effect or a positive effect using AI. My personal beliefs, I don't know either, but what I will say is that I feel like throughout time, there's always been positives and negatives when it comes to anything and everything. I don't think anything is 100% good, anything is 100% bad, you know, those kind of polarities, the way we think about things. So I think that this technology is here for a reason. I don't think that anything happens without a reason. I think there's always a divine purpose, and I think there's always going to be divine protection. Do I think a lot of people are going to fall victim to distraction and get involved and get lost in video games? That's already been happening. And you know, there's a lot of people who are distracted with a lot of things. And then, you know, I think in the future there will be people who will use this technology for their advantage, to help them grow, hopefully in a spiritual sense. I think that medical technology, the medical advancements, will be extremely beneficial to humans. These things can help us live longer, be healthier. These are my hopes. What we think is healthy, or what we think is medically sound, I think those things will become obsolete eventually, and we're gonna find so many cures and healing modalities. Those are my thoughts, right? So I think there's gonna be like positives and negatives, like there has always been throughout human history. But there are a lot of unknowns, and it's scary because nothing like this has ever come out, where we've invented something that can then create, it can process and invent things on its own. We've never seen that before. I do think going within, having meaning, having a purpose in life is going to be essential. It's easy to think, what's the point in living? Why should I even be here if I don't have to go to work? Or what's the point in having a degree in something? Or what's the point in working for something or learning something new? What's the point in that when there's technology that can do it way better than me? So yeah, I think spirituality and astrology and other occult practices are going to really thrive in this new world, because people will be searching for meaning, especially if their material world is stable, you know, they're not having to really work. If people aren't having to work to feed themselves, to house themselves, then they're gonna have a lot of downtime, and they're gonna wanna know what's the point in all this. So I think in that sense, as well as other things as well, I think in that sense, this is a great thing, because it's gonna help us really evolve on an emotional, spiritual level, psychological level as well. And this is maybe something that we need. Maybe we're entering a time where we're not having to survive. We're not having to hustle as much and have as much wear and tear on our bodies, but it's more of a time where we can get closer to the divine, or, you know, find purpose and meaning in all of this, and do more things that we find interesting, have more time to do those things that give us purpose. Maybe it's artwork, even though if AI can do it quickly or even better, but you're able to still do that. You're able to still create and show off your creations, or study more, or read more books, whatever the case may be. Maybe we'll have more time for that. And please write in the comment section what you think is going to happen. Where are we headed as the super intelligence gets smarter and more powerful each day? Let me know down below, and I will see you in the next video. Please subscribe to my channel, like, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.